Hello, friends. It's Pastor Eric here. It is Thursday, June 25th, and I'm excited to be able to bring you a message today. Just a brief reflection. Again, I know these are becoming a little less frequent over the last couple weeks, but we've had a lot going on the kind of leadership side of things as we're starting to discuss when to be able to return to in-person worship and what that might look like. And so we've had some council meetings around that, as well as council retreat, doing some visioning for the future. So I share all that just so you know that your leadership board, your council, has been busy, and I'm grateful for all those on council who have really given a lot of time to have these discussions and be just leaning into God and what He has in store for us in the immediate future, as well as down the road a bit. So, but again, I wanted to come on today and at least offer up one video here for this week, and especially because next week I'm actually going to be taking the week off. My parents have decided to make a road trip up here. We haven't seen them since my sister's wedding in December, or beginning of January was the last time we saw them. They were going to come in May and obviously canceled that. And so we've been having some conversation, decided since we've pretty much been isolated from folks and distant, as have they, and we're all in good health, that we could hunker down together for a week. So I'm really excited to see them and have that time, which means I'm not going to be coming on or sending out any messages next week. But again, definitely wanted to send one out here, and then I'll look forward to doing so again after the weekend of the 4th. So again, just wanted to offer this up. I actually came across this verse today, and with thinking of the 4th of July coming up and what that means, and just the freedoms we enjoy in this country, and with everything crazy going on in our country right now, that doesn't change the fact that we live in an amazing country and we're so blessed by it. And I just think it's good to reflect on the freedoms that we have here, which so many people don't have in other parts of the world. So we're grateful for that. And as Christians, we have a double freedom, American Christians, that is. We have the freedoms we enjoy here in this country, but we also have freedom in Christ. That's actually one of the kind of key values of LCMC, of which we're a part, free in Christ, that we are set free from our sin by the power of the gospel, by God's grace revealed through Jesus Christ. And so that free in Christ, that freedom we have in Christ, is hugely important. And I think it's something we should talk about more. I think we do kind of indirectly, but we need to do it really directly. And obviously around Independence Day is a great time to talk about that, because everyone's reflecting and thinking of and more mindful of the freedoms we have here. So I want to just read this verse, Galatians 5:1. It is for freedom that Christ has set us free. Stand firm then, and do not let yourselves be burdened again by a yoke of slavery. Really powerful verse there, that Christ wants us to be free. That's why He set us free. He wants us to be free from sin. That's why He did it. That's a huge piece. And then this piece about stand firm. Stand firm then, do not let yourselves be burdened again by a yoke of slavery. The slavery that is being spoken of there is about the slavery to sin. And so what Paul is really reminding us here is that we've been set free. That's already happened, okay? Jesus has already accomplished that work. When He says on the cross, it is finished, or it is accomplished, He accomplished His mission. We have been set free from the power and the bondage to sin and death by being raised to new life through Jesus Christ. So that's already done. It's a done deal. And so now Paul is reminding us, he's reminding the Galatian Christians, he's reminding us to stand firm in that, to believe that, to not go just find ourselves kind of going back to our old bad habits, back to sin, but to really stand firm in the freedom that we have in Christ. And I just think that's such an important reminder. I think for all of us, we're all sinners who have been set free by the grace of Jesus Christ. And you would think that we would all just say, great, I'm no problem standing firm in that. But I think our sinful human nature too often kind of pulls us back and wants to, as it says in Genesis, I think it's 1 about, or Genesis 3, excuse me, about sin is crouching at the door. Its desire is to master you. Genesis 3 or 4, I can't remember, one of those two. But it's in the context of Cain and Abel. So Genesis 4, I guess that would be. But sin is crouching at the door and its desire is to master you. That even though we've been set free from sin, from its power, doesn't mean it's not still there. Doesn't mean the devil doesn't still want to get his hooks in you and get you off the path and have you go astray and all those things. So temptation is a reality. So I just think it's an important reminder to really cling to that freedom. I think we do that as Americans. We cherish our freedom, but I think sometimes as Christians, we maybe don't. We're maybe a little more loose on that, or we don't believe it enough, and we need to, because it's as great as our freedom is as Americans. Even greater than that is our freedom from sin through Jesus Christ. And the beautiful thing is that's not only restricted to Americans. That is for every person everywhere. So it's what unites all of us. And so I love that. I think we need to think beyond just our borders. We need to think of the global church and of just people everywhere who don't know Jesus, that we should have a heart for them, that they too would come into relationship with him and experience that freedom. So I just want to encourage you today, if you're kind of finding yourself falling back into bad habits or bad patterns or kind of back into sin, be reminded you have been set free by Jesus Christ, and you've been set free from those things, and he wants you to be free. That's his desire and his intention for you, is that you would be free of those things. And so when temptation comes knocking and sin is at the door and Satan's prowling around like that roaring lion, just remember that you're free. You don't need to go back to those things, that Jesus wants you to be free of those. So I just want to encourage you with that here today, especially next week as we're kind of gearing up for the 4th of July and remembering our freedom. Again, it's a great thing. We celebrate that. We're so grateful for our freedoms in this country. But like I said, even greater than that is the freedom we have in Jesus Christ. So I encourage you with that today. And if you're feeling kind of weak and feeling kind of vulnerable, especially in this time of isolation, go check out Galatians 5:1 and that good word from Paul, where he just reminds us we're no longer slaves to sin. As that song says, I'm no longer a slave to sin. I am a child of God. That's the truth. That's what I want you to remember today, that you are free because of Jesus Christ. So God bless you. Enjoy your Independence Day. Be safe, and look forward to touching base with you here again soon. God bless.